Hey guys, welcome to this channel. I'm Sonic Based, where I give my opinions on Sonic, and I'm pretty based while doing so. No, don't click off yet, please. Just listen. I'd like to express my feelings on a popular topic in the Sonic fandom, the long-lost adventure format. And yeah, I can admit it's my favorite gameplay style out of all of them. Am I biased? Probably. It's what I played the most growing up, and I even remember just running around the hub worlds for hours on end, just making up my own stories. I was like 7, don't judge me, alright? But ever since Sonic 06, it's been gone. Now, is that because that game bombed? Well, yeah, maybe. I think that's the case anyway. After that, they moved to a new format, the boost-style gameplay. With Sonic Unleashed, we got our first taste of the boost-style gameplay in the 3D style, and yeah, it's certainly faster. Wow, that's really fast. And growing up, I was pretty into it, but I always felt like something was missing. I only had the Wii version, which is a more bare-bones port of the 360 and PS3 release, but it did keep me entertained. I remember finding myself exploring the temples a lot for some reason, just walking around, taking it all in. To me, that's kind of what I wanted. I liked having an area where I could just walk around freely, not at an insanely aggressive, fast pace. It made me realize what I wanted. But for the longest time, they were sticking with the boost-style gameplay, and while that was fun, I wanted something different. Granted, they definitely tried something different with Lost World, and yeah, they tried. But it wasn't what I wanted. And as the boost-style games went on, it felt like the one thing I never thought Sonic would be, and that's automated. Yeah, the dash panels and boost pads, or whatever the hell you call them, made it feel automated in a sense, and there's always been these automated loops and sections of levels, but that was for spectacle. By the time we got to Sonic Forces, the game just played itself, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's go back from where we started. Sonic Adventure, releasing in 1999 to pretty favorable reviews, was Sonic's big leap to 3D. Granted, 3D Blast was sort of first, but this was true 3D, and it was spectacular. It had a semi-cohesive story that took itself way too seriously, and had full-fledged voice acting, which by today's standards are pretty hilarious.
Robotnik, the greatest scientific genius in the world!
Whatever you say, Eggman!
But damn, this game was impressive, and I still think it is. I can still have tons of fun playing it, granted it's only on Sonic stages, but I still have a great time. It's not perfect, but I still have so much love for this game. I remember getting the DX port for the GameCube as a treat for getting my adenoids taken out. So yeah, I think that was a fair trade. I think Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles have the best of the gameplay styles in this game. Amy's fine, Game is, a shoot 'em up, and Big is, well, big. So Sonic's transition to 3D is not that rough. This is still a very good game. Well, that's going to bring us to Sonic Adventure 2, released in 2001, only 3 years after its predecessor, also got pretty decent reviews at launch. This one upped the stakes and even introduced a new fan favorite character, Shadow the Hedgehog. And damn, that's a cool character. For some reason, this game evaded me at every single turn for the longest time, and I'm not sure why. I remember my first exposure to this game was at my aunt's house for some reason. She had a Dreamcast, and there was this demo disc that had City Escape on it, and that's all, and you bet your sweet Bippy I played the hell out of it. I played it to death. Literally. The Dreamcast bit the dust. I mean, rest in peace, but that was my first time really playing this game. But that was my first time really seeing what this game was, and I wanted it more than Sonic Adventure 1. I couldn't wait to get it. My first time, much like many of you, was with the GameCube port Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I remember I bought it used from GameStop with their generic cover, and I really hated it. I thought the official box art was the absolute shit, so much I even printed it out and slapped it on there instead. But anyway, the game, how does it play? Well, it plays very similar to Sonic Adventure 1, with some minor tweaks in there. It feels much faster, the models got a lot less chunky, they took out the hub worlds, which kind of disappointed a younger me. I really liked them for some reason. And instead of having all these different playstyles, they broke it down to 3. Speed, shooting, and treasure hunting. Speed always being my favorite, of course. I played this game so much growing up, specifically Sonic and Shadow stages, and much like Sonic Adventure 1, I love this game, and I don't regret how much time I spent with it. This was one of the first games I ever beat, and I was so proud of myself. So after that, just 2 years later, we got Sonic Heroes. Sonic went multi-platform? After the Dreamcast, well, was the Dreamcast, Sega threw in the towel and decided to step away from consoles. I do sometimes wonder what it would be like if that didn't happen. What if the Dreamcast was a hit? Would Sega be on top? Who knows? Regardless, Sonic Heroes released in 2003, well in Japan at least, to mixed to mediocre reviews, was definitely more split than the others at least. I had a decent time with this one. I remember forcing my dad to play the multiplayer with me, and he didn't have a good time. I played it a lot, but not nearly as much as Adventure 1 and Adventure 2. And I'm not sure why, but they jacked the speed up to 100. I never even beat this one. The controls pissed me off so much. I was constantly throwing myself off the ledge, and it just wasn't fun to me. They now have it down to basically one playstyle, but with 3 different options: speed, flight, and strength or attack, or whatever the hell they call it. And while it isn't the adventure format 100%, I still think it strongly resembles it. But I don't love this game. Is the adventure formula already getting old? Well, next up was words can't describe how excited I was to play this game. Shadow the Hedgehog released in 2006 to rough reviews. Okay, I'm seeing a downward slope beginning. Is this because the adventure formula is getting old? Or maybe it's because this game just flat out isn't very good. Although I do have a lot of memories with this one, even more than Heroes. I think there was an aunt or a cousin that bought it for me while we were visiting them, and after seeing the intro I think they got scared that they got me something I shouldn't be playing. Even though that intro is absolutely incredible, even to this day. If there's one great thing I can say about Shadow the Hedgehog, the CGI cutscenes are still peak. Even though I played this one quite a bit, I never did beat it. Well, fully beat it anyways. If you know how this game works, you have to beat it multiple times over, doing separate missions on each level. You either are a hero, evil, or neutral path, and I think I did about 2 playthroughs before realizing that's all I wanted from it. They kept the same speed as Heroes, if not even faster, and seems like they even made it more slippery, which, I can't lie, led to many deaths. I definitely got very frustrated with this one, but I can't lie, I'd like to revisit this. Maybe it's just nostalgia, but I really remember having an okay time with some parts of this game. Well, we've reached it. We've reached our penultimate adventure-style game, and so, you know what's next. Do I even need to say it? Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic 06, came out in, 2006 to bad reviews. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This game was panned. It wasn't finished, it was buggy, it was slow, the load times were atrocious, just none of it worked with people, and for some reason, I had to wait forever to actually play it for myself. When Sonic 06 came out, I was gobsmacked. The graphics looked insane, and I remember playing the demo at a Sears of all places, oddly enough, and I was elated. I thought it was incredible. It was all I wanted. I was also 7 at the time, so take that as you will, but I don't know. There was something about this game that really drew me to it. I remember playing Crisis City as Silver, and I thought he was the coolest character yet. Albeit a little bit slow, but it was just a demo. They'll probably fix that in the full game, right? But yeah, it's what I wanted. They went back to the more serious tone of Adventure 1 and 2, and I love the way they made the character models look, and they made them look older, and yeah, I was into this. When I turned 11, I got an Xbox 360, and the only game my dad got me was Sonic 06, and I could not wait to bust home and play this game. So, let's start with the positives. To this day, I still really like all the models in this game, the characters look older, and the step between Shadow the Hedgehog and this is quite staggering. The music, as always, is banging. I do like a lot of the voice direction, and I think the levels and level design in this game are very, very good. And I do like the more serious take on a Sonic story. And that may be it. While I like the tone, the story to this game is damn near nonsensical. Once time travel is involved, it becomes an absolute shit show. This game flat out isn't finished, at least sucks. The running speed is so goddamn slow, and oh my god, the load times. Now, I and many other Sonic fans can say we played 06 more than we'd like to admit. At least I can say that. And as many problems as this game had, I can't lie, and say I hated my time with it. I had a really good time, whether intentional or not. I definitely broke this game often, having been escaping the silver boss fight, skipping over large sections of certain stages, all the full 9 yards. But I have a lot of love for this game. I hope one day it gets another shot, kind of what Sonic P06 is doing right now. Check that out, it fucking rules. While Sonic went through a lot of changes from 99 to 2006, I think people saying that he had a rough transition to 3D are really only talking about 06 and Shadow the Hedgehog. I think the other ones are very decent games. Maybe not so much Heroes, but still. I really appreciate the adventure-style format that Sonic had for these years. I love how many characters you could play as, in Adventure 1 and 2 at least. Sonic, Amy, Knuckles, Eggman, Shadow, Tails, even motherfucking Big the Cat? Hell yeah. Granted, most of these gameplay styles don't really gel with me now, and if I ever revisit any of these games, it's mainly for the Sonic stages, but regardless, I still appreciate the diverse amount of gameplay the first 2 adventure games brought. But all of that said, to get to the point, is the adventure format outdated? If you asked me that question in 2021, I'd say, while I do miss it, it just isn't what Sonic is anymore. But now that we have Sonic Frontiers, I'd say that we're getting closer to that. The game still has the boost, and the game has plenty of forced 2D sections like the boost games, but a large portion of this game is just exploring around, searching, finding things, going on an adventure. You can't click off now, you're too deep in, but you see where I'm going with this, right? It even has the spin dash again after all these years. Granted, it was added in after the fact, but still, it's better. And I'm glad it's here. It's probably my second favorite version of the spin dash. You can go so fucking fast with this thing, it's ridiculous. And it even simplifies the homing attack reticle. I may be the minority here, but I hate the big red target reticle we used to have. If anything, I wish we didn't have it at all. So obviously this game isn't one-to-one Sonic Adventure, it's very obviously its own thing, and I don't think it'll ever recapture what we used to have, no matter how many references they jam in there. It just wasn't the adventure style. And while Sonic controlled much more freely, I don't think it's nearly as smooth as the adventure titles. Plus, they added combat, which I do actually really like. If we ever get a new adventure title, Sonic at least has to keep his combat in his supersonic form. Those boss fights are absolutely incredible. And the bounce is back, and it's not in its best form, but it does have a cool electric attack on a third bounce, and once again, the spin dash here is fucking nuts. You can get crazy height with it. And I like having the option to just roll. It's pretty fun. But all in all, I thought that this was as close as I thought we'd ever get to another adventure-style game. Until 2023. Sonic Dream Team comes out and, holy shit, this really reminds me of adventure style. It's short bite-sized levels where you explore and move around freely, and that's what I like. Yeah, he still has the boost, but I feel like it's way less in the forefront than Sonic's recent endeavors. While the controls are minimal, it's really just jump, homing attack, and boost. I don't mind it. And much like Sonic Frontiers, the homing attack is mapped to another button, and if that means Sonic has a double jump from here on out, I'll take it. But I can only play on my iPhone? That blows. In the wave of official Sega-released Sonic games, I worry that this is as close as we'll ever get to the adventure-style games again. Now you may notice that I said official Sega-released. Have you guys ever heard about Dreams? Dreams is a PlayStation exclusive application where you can create your own games, videos, pictures, whatever, but you can also play people's published video games. Enter Sonic Venture, a fan game made in Dreams that takes a lot of influence from all of Sonic's 3D and 2D outings. It's kind of mashed into its own game, and I mean that in the best way possible. I have no problem with saying this is the absolute best Sonic has ever controlled. It may be insane for me to say that, but I mean it. Sonic has the spin dash again, and it's incredible. He has the drop dash, and it's awesome. And while you can go fast as hell, you can actually control where Sonic's going. You have this fast-paced platforming, and above all else, it's just so damn fun. There are no compromises here. If you have a PS4 or 5 and have internet, I think the price of Dreams is well worth it just for Sonic Adventure alone. The stage layout, the graphics, the music, it's just so impressive. They even recreated the Mystic Ruins. That's badass. The game isn't even done yet. It's still in development. I can only hope that a new update comes out soon. After spending so much time with this game, I was actually able to find one of the members that made the game on Twitter, and I wanted to reach out to them and see how the creative process worked, and they graciously responded. User TuneStuff on Twitter says, I can't speak for the whole team, but when it comes to the creative process for me personally, I think I tend to just wing it a lot. Making stages for Venture is something I find really fun, so I try to experiment with all the different mechanics and gimmicks to make something that I really enjoy playing. I don't usually set out with a big idea or plan or anything like that. They sort of just happen. Whichever Sonic game I've played recently also factors into things, where I might see a gimmick or a layout that I think is fun and say, I would like to try to do something like that. Toon also confirms what I said about the game being a mashup of all different forms of Sonic, saying that, despite what the name may make you think, Sonic Venture is a game that I feel like is a sort of melting pot of Sonic as a whole, not just the adventure titles. Heck, Venture's role, which has been a staple of its gameplay since first release, was initially intended to be a boost instead. With that said, however, because it's even harder to deny. That's a tongue twister right there, Toon. Jesus. You can't deny Adventure's influence on the entire rest of Sonic's 3D catalog. It defined what 3D Sonic was, and in a lot of ways still is. Can you imagine if Sonic X-treme actually released? How that being Sonic's first 3D game could have completely redirected Sonic's future? In any case, Venture and 3D Sonic as a whole wouldn't be the same without Adventure. It's a titan of a game that I think deserves much more credit for the individual, minute details of its game design and how it brought Sonic to 3D. With the Adventure games specifically, I love them to death, and I know Ben and the rest of the team do too. Thank you so much, Toon, for giving me a good peek into what the process you and your team had, and I can see that our opinions are very much in line with each other, so we must both be right? So, is the Adventure formula outdated? Well, maybe, but it doesn't have to be. Giving Sonic and Company a big open area to run, jump, climb, and explore is looking like it'll be the next evolution of the Sonic franchise, and I can sit here and pray that they'll adopt a similar moveset to the Adventure titles. I just really prefer the way Sonic handles there over Frontiers, and if anything, if Sonic controlled anything like he does in Venture, I'd be so happy. The Boost formula games may have been better received, but I just don't have a strong nostalgic feeling towards them like I do the other ones. Maybe one day I'll go over the Boost formula, since it looks like that'll be on its way out. Maybe one day I'll miss that too. But for now, it's the Adventure format I miss. I hope that 3D Sonic can return to its roots, and after looking back at all these games, I can see that they all have their positives. Yeah, some have more negatives than others, but I still love them all. So no, the Adventure format isn't outdated. I just think it needs another tweak. If there's one thing I want, it's to see this little blue guy succeed, and he's been there with me for my whole life, and he deserves an absolute another blockbuster of a game, and maybe one day we'll get that. At least I hope so. So, for now, I'm Sonic Base, and that's how I feel. Have a good night. Shit, I forgot about Sonic Jam Sonic World.